Hello everybody and welcome to the Sovereign Village Project. Let's talk today about money. One of the most discouraging things when you're first starting out homesteading is how expensive everything appears to be. Especially as you start navigating the world of YouTube and exploring how-to videos or books, and everything's got a specific process like, oh, you want to build a garden bed, buy 12 2x8s from the hardware store and it's going to cost you $100. So I just wanted to offer a little video that kind of gives some encouragement to say don't worry so much about specific processes. Think about what you really need. Instead of a specific system of setting up a garden bed, for example, what do you have laying around that could fill that function? So I'm just going to take you on a quick tour around the Hollow Top Farms site and see some improvisation I've done just to kind of start stirring the ideas in your brain about how you can start recycling things and finding used items and use what's around you to create your homestead, because I'm a musician. I make like $300 to $500 a week on a good week before the unconstitutional lockdowns destroyed my living. So I've still been able to build this and buy property and start building a community making that kind of money. This was just a, sorry, I didn't mean to scare you there, bud. These rabbit hutches are all improvised. They were just either wood I had lying around that I put chicken wire on, or there were other things. This cage I did buy. It was about $5 at a flea market. This one was an old puppy container we weren't using. Our puppy is using a different one now, so we didn't really need it. So all in all, my whole rabbit setup, which is providing me a lot of protein, maybe cost me $5 to $10 total. Just every little thing around my homestead is pretty much improvised. Who needs a watering jug? If you have another plastic jug. That plastic jug, when it no longer holds water, will become a planter. And speaking of planter, most of my planters are either found or improvised. Often they're buckets whose handle is broken, or I find an odd number of them just lying on the side of the highway, like this one here. Other times I'll buy things and I'll go ahead and plant the tree that's in them, or I'll use a coffee can. There's a billion things that can become planters. Pieces of plastic. And as far as seedling starting, that's easy. There's so many styrofoam cups and yogurt containers and things like that that you use every day. Don't throw anything away that can hold things. Here's another example. I needed a trellis for my tomatoes and my beans and such. I wouldn't spend any money when I can just find a branch and tie it together with wire up at the top here. And as you can see, it's doing a fine job of holding beans and tomatoes and all sorts of great things. And back to the subject of beds, I've really never bought wood for a flower bed in my life. I just use logs and what's around me, and I don't worry about them rotting. I want them to rot. When that rots, it'll just create new nutrients from my garden. You'll see in my last video how I talk about using sticks to water your garden. All those old rotten sticks just absorb the water so well. And so you've got a resource, and the rotting is good. You want that. You turn that into a good thing. And then you just rebuild it. You throw another log on the bed when you need a new boundary. Here's another homemade trellis. Doing a fine job of letting these tomatoes climb up it. For rainwater catchment, when I set up the system, I was really on a tight budget at the time. I couldn't afford the gutter attachments or anything, so I just opened up the barrels and set them underneath the roof there, and it works just fine. I don't know if you can see, but there's fish swimming around in there. They're a whole lot cheaper than mosquito dunks. And if I get really hungry, I guess I can eat a goldfish. My greenhouse may not look all that pretty, but it's just some old windows off of one of the buildings on the site next door. And as you can see, it's working just fine. So that's just a quick little note of encouragement to say don't worry about where you are at budget-wise. Your creativity is all you need. So have a good one. Stay well.